The command deck of the Vanguard was alive with the steady hum of machinery and the soft murmur of voices. Positioned in high orbit around Novaterra, the starship served as the flagship of the human fleet, a symbol of exploration and defense. Captain James Walker stood before the main viewport, his gaze fixed on the blue-green swirl of the planet below. He was a man in his mid-30s, tall and with a demeanor that commanded respect yet invited trust. "Captain, you're going to want to see this," Lieutenant Harris called out from her station. She was monitoring the deep space communications array, which had picked up unusual readings from the planet Eridani. Eridani was a world shrouded in mystery, known throughout the galaxy for its ancient ruins and unexplained artifacts, remnants of a civilization long gone. James approached Harris's console, his steps measured. "Report, Lieutenant. We've detected a series of energy surges on Eridani," Harris explained, her fingers gliding over the holographic display to bring up the data. The screen showed a graph spiked with erratic peaks, each representing a massive discharge of energy. "These aren't natural phenomena, sir. They're precise. Too precise to be anything but artificial." James's eyes narrowed. This was no minor anomaly. If the readings were accurate, someone was activating technology that had slept undisturbed for millennia. "How recent are these surges?" "Just within the last hour," Harris replied. The room fell silent for a moment, as the implications hung heavily in the air. Ancient technologies, especially those capable of such power, could change the balance of power in the galaxy. They needed to act swiftly. "Prepare a landing party," James decided, his voice firm. "We're going to Eridani. I want to know what's causing those surges, and we need to secure it before anyone else does." The crew sprung into action, each member well-trained and efficient. As preparations for the departure began, James took a moment to communicate the mission's urgency to his senior officers. "This isn't just another exploration mission," he stated in the briefing room, his team's faces reflecting the gravity of the situation. "Whatever is happening on Eridani could affect the entire galaxy. We must approach this with the utmost caution and precision." The team nodded in understanding, their expressions set with determination. They were a diverse group, each with their own specialties and backgrounds, united under James's leadership. As the final checks were completed, the Vanguard's engines began to thrum with a deeper tone, readying for the jump to hyperspace. James took one last look at Novaterra, then turned to his crew. "Let's find out what's waiting for us," he said, a hint of the unknown frontier echoing in his voice. With that, the Vanguard slipped into hyperspace, its destination set for the mysterious planet of Eridani. As the stars blurred into streaks of light around them, the crew braced themselves for what might be their most significant discovery, or their greatest challenge. Deep within the shadows of an asteroid field in the Xerox sector, a hidden base throbbed with activity. This secluded fortress was the command center of Lord Staler, a figure shrouded in mystery and ambition. His quarters were stark, illuminated only by the soft glow of computer screens displaying star maps and cryptic data. Lord Staler stood over a large holographic table, his eyes fixated on the pulsating image of Eridani. He was a tall figure, with sharp features that gave him an almost predatory look. His presence was commanding, filling the room with an intense energy that made his advisors tread carefully. "Enhance Sector 4, Staler commanded, his voice carrying an icy calm that belied the storm of plans brewing in his mind. The image zoomed in, revealing ancient ruins on Eridani, their structures unlike anything else known to contemporary science. "These surges have not gone unnoticed," he continued, addressing his inner circle. "Our probes have detected a human fleet making its way towards Eridani. It is led by James Walker." A flicker of recognition passed through Staler's eyes. He and James had once studied together at the military academy, two promising cadets with starkly different visions for the galaxy's future. Where James saw a galaxy united in peace, Staler saw a universe under a single rule. "We must accelerate our plans," Staler decided, turning back to the hologram. "The artifacts of Eridani hold the key to unimaginable power, enough to bend the galaxy to our will. We cannot allow the humans or anyone else to interfere." He approached a sleek black device perched on a pedestal, a piece of ancient technology recently unearthed. It was the source of the surges, capable of manipulating energy on a planetary scale. With a gloved hand he caressed the device, and it responded with a low hum, its surface lighting up with intricate symbols. "Prepare the fleet," Staler ordered, "and ready the ground forces. We will not be stealthy observers this time. We will strike." As his orders were relayed, Staler walked to a large viewport, watching as battle cruisers and transport ships aligned in formation against the backdrop of the asteroid field. Each ship bristled with weaponry, ready for the conflict to come. Back on the command deck, Staler's chief strategist, a sharp-minded tactician named Commander Varric, voiced a note of caution. "The humans are not to be underestimated, my lord. Especially James Walker. He has a reputation for cunning." Staler turned, his gaze piercing. "That is why he must not reach Eridani. Set a trap for them. Use the artifact's power if necessary. I want Walker out of the picture before he can complicate our ascension." Varric nodded, understanding the weight of the task. As the preparations for the impending confrontation went underway, the base hummed with a grim anticipation. Staler looked out into the void, his thoughts as dark and vast as space itself. "This galaxy will know order," he whispered to himself. "Through power, through fear, through Staler." The vanguard emerged from hyperspace with the graceful silence of a celestial apparition, appearing above the planet Eridani. Below them, the planet was a tapestry of vibrant greens and deep blues, marked by the sprawling ruins that had puzzled archaeologists and historians for centuries. Captain James Walker stood at the helm, his crew poised and ready behind their stations. "Prepare for atmospheric entry," he ordered, his voice calm but carrying an undercurrent of excitement. This was what they trained for, unraveling the mysteries of the universe. The descent through Eridani's atmosphere was turbulent, a whirlwind of colorful skies and buffeting winds. The ship landed near the coordinates of the energy surges, in a clearing surrounded by towering verdant flora and ancient stone structures that seemed to pulse with a forgotten history. "Arm yourselves and stay alert," James instructed as the landing party assembled. Equipped with standard-issue blasters and scanning gear, the team ventured out towards the largest of the ruins, guided by their handheld sensors. The ground beneath their feet was soft, covered with a carpet of moss and scattered with the petals of bioluminescent flowers. The air was thick with the aroma of an alien forest, and every step forward took them deeper into a world untouched by time. As they approached the ruins, Specialist Terra, the team's archaeologist, pointed out the markings on the stones. "These symbols aren't just decorative, they're functional, part of a larger mechanism," she explained, tracing her fingers over the intricate carvings that glowed faintly under her touch. Suddenly, the team's tech specialist, Lieutenant Cole, halted. "Captain, I'm picking up a signal. It's weak, but it's definitely artificial. It seems to be emanating from below the surface." James nodded, signaling the team to follow the signal. They found a hidden entrance leading to an underground chamber. Inside, the air was cool and heavy with the scent of ozone. At the chamber's center stood an artifact, a massive obelisk pulsating with light. As James stepped closer, the obelisk's light intensified, projecting a hologram of the star system with lines connecting the planets in a complex network. "It's a map," Terra whispered, awe in her voice. "Or a key." Before they could study it further, an alarm sounded from Cole's scanner. "Incoming," he shouted, just as a barrage of laser fire rained down on them. Staler's forces had ambushed them, their presence concealed until now. The tranquility of the planet was shattered by the echoes of blaster fire and shouts. James and his team returned fire, taking cover behind the ancient stone structures. "Fall back to the vanguard," he ordered, providing cover as they retreated. As they fought their way back to their ship, James glanced back at the ruins. The energy surges had been a beacon, and now they had awoken something that could not be ignored. They managed to reach the vanguard, but the encounter had left them shaken and with more questions than answers. As the ship ascended, leaving Eridani's atmosphere, James knew this was only the beginning of what was to come. After their narrow escape from Eridani, Captain James Walker realized the importance of forging stronger alliances across the galaxy. The power of the artifacts was too great to be left in the hands of someone like Lord Staler. They needed a unified front. Back aboard the Vanguard, James convened with his senior officers to plan their next move. "We can't do this alone," he stated firmly. "Staler's ambitions threaten all of us. We need to bring the other systems on board." The team agreed, and James set a course to the nearest allied planet, Calum, known for its influential council and strategic military prowess. Upon arrival, James and his diplomatic team were ushered into the Grand Council chamber, a vast room with ceilings depicting the galaxy's constellations. James addressed the assembly with a clear and compelling argument. The artifacts on Eridani aren't just relics. They're weapons of unimaginable power. Lord Staler is already mobilizing to use them. We must act together to prevent him from dominating the galaxy. The Calum Council was skeptical at first. Their leader, Councillor Alara, expressed concerns about provoking a war. Staler has always been ambitious, but he's also been a guardian against Outer Rim threats. Are we ready to escalate this into full conflict? James countered with the urgency of the threat. This isn't just about ambition, it's about survival. Staler won't stop at the Outer Rim. His plans involve every one of our worlds. Moved by James's earnestness and the evidence presented, Councillor Alara agreed to a pact. "Calum will stand with you, Captain Walker. Let us hope our unity deters Staler more than it provokes him." With Calum's fleet at their side, James's next stop was the technologically advanced planet of Mechanus. Mechanus had always been a fortress of innovation and firepower. Gaining their support would significantly bolster their defenses. Upon reaching Mechanus, James and his team were met with a different challenge. The Mechanus Senate was deeply divided over intervention. Senator Ira, a proponent of isolationism, argued, "Why should we risk our people for conflicts that do not affect our immediate borders?" James knew he needed to sway them with logic and mutual benefit. Staler's control of the artifacts will destabilize trade routes, including those vital to Mechanus. Today the threat might seem distant, but once he consolidates power, none of our worlds, including Mechanus, will be spared from his rule. The debate was intense, but James's forthright manner and strategic insights won over the Senate. "We will provide technological support," Senator Ira conceded, "and our fleets will be ready if Staler crosses into our sectors." With alliances forming and their forces growing stronger, James felt a brief moment of relief. However, as they prepared to depart Mechanus, reports came in of Staler's forces moving openly through the galaxy, capturing a key strategic planet by demonstrating the horrific power of the artifacts. Stakes were higher now, and there was no room for hesitation. "We need to consolidate our forces and prepare for what's coming," James declared, as they set course back to the Vanguard. "This galaxy belongs to all of us, and we'll defend it together." The Alliance, now bolstered by the forces of Calum and Mechanus, prepared for a decisive confrontation on Eridani. Captain James Walker knew that the key to stopping Lord Staler lay in controlling the ancient artifacts. With the coalition fleet assembled, James issued the command to move towards Eridani, the heart of the impending conflict. As the Vanguard and its allied ships descended into the orbit of Eridani, they were met with the formidable sight of Staler's fleet, arrayed in a defensive formation around the planet. The space around Eridani buzzed with the tension of imminent battle. "Positions, everyone. This is it," James announced over the ship's intercom, as each member of his crew prepared for the engagement. The first volleys of laser fire erupted through space, a dazzling and deadly light show that marked the beginning of the siege. On the surface of Eridani, James led a ground team to the location of the main artifact, the ancient obelisk they had encountered before. Their mission was to deactivate it before Staler could harness its full power. The team, equipped with the latest tech from Mechanus, made their way through the lush alien jungles, now scarred by the ongoing battle overhead. The ground combat was fierce. Staler's forces were well prepared, their troops fortified by high-tech armor and weaponry. James and his team used the ruins for cover, moving tactically towards the obelisk site. With each step, the weight of their task grew heavier, knowing the fate of many hung in the balance. As they approached the obelisk, they encountered heavy resistance. Blaster fire whizzed past them, kicking up fragments of ancient stone. "We need to push through," James yelled, firing back with precision. The team rallied, suppressing the enemy's fire long enough to break through to the clearing where the obelisk stood, pulsating ominously. At the same time, in orbit, the Allied fleets clashed with Staler's armada. The space around Eridani was a chaotic ballet of ships maneuvering and striking, each explosion a temporary starburst against the darkness of space. Back on the ground, James reached the obelisk and began setting up the device designed to neutralize it. The air was electric with energy, the obelisk responding to their presence with an increasing glow. "Hurry, we don't have much time," urged Tara, watching nervously as enemy reinforcements approached. As James activated the device, a deep hum resonated through the ground, the obelisk's light dimming slowly until it flickered out. The immediate area fell silent, the only sounds being the distant echoes of battle. Victory, however, was short-lived. Lord Staler, having anticipated their move, appeared with his personal guard. "Impressive, Captain Walker, but futile," Staler proclaimed, his voice cutting through the tension. A confrontation ensued, with James facing Staler amidst the ruins of a civilization long gone. The battle was intense and personal. Each knew the other's tactics well, making the fight not just physical, but a battle of wits and wills. Ultimately, James managed to subdue Staler, using a combination of combat prowess and strategic use of the environment. With Staler captured, and the artifacts secured, the tide of the battle turned. Staler's forces, lacking leadership, began to falter. The Allied fleet took advantage, pressing their advantage until Staler's fleet was forced to retreat. The siege of Eridani ended with the coalition victorious, the galaxy saved from the brink of tyranny. As they regrouped, James and his team looked upon the quiet ruins, a reminder of what they fought to protect. The dust settled on the planet Eridani, the silence after the battle hanging heavy as the coalition forces assessed the aftermath. The once mysterious ruins, now a battleground, bore the scars of the conflict. Captain James Walker surveyed the area, his team beside him, each member weary but relieved. Lord Staler, now a prisoner, was under guard. His reign of terror concluded. As the sun rose over Eridani, casting long shadows across the ancient stones, James convened with his allies to discuss the future. Leaders from Calum and Mechanus, along with representatives from other planets affected by Staler's ambitions, gathered to solidify the peace they had fought so hard to achieve. "We've been given a second chance," James addressed the assembly, his voice echoing slightly in the open air. "These artifacts, this power, it's not for one person or one planet. It's a responsibility we all share." The group agreed to form a new coalition, dedicated not just to defense but to exploration and mutual support. The artifacts would be studied, and their secrets unlocked for the benefit of all, under strict regulations to prevent misuse. Mechanus offered their most advanced technology for monitoring and containment, ensuring the artifacts' safe handling. Meanwhile, the captured Staler was brought before the coalition, his demeanor defiant yet resigned. James faced him, not with triumph, but a solemn sense of duty. "You had the vision to see the galaxy united, Staler, but your methods would have led us to ruin," James said. "Help us rebuild and find redemption." Staler, his ambitions quashed, nodded slowly. "Perhaps in unity there is strength," he conceded, his voice a whisper lost in the wind. With the formalities concluded, the coalition set to work. Recovery teams moved through the ruins, securing the artifacts and aiding the wounded. Scientists from various worlds prepared to study the ancient technologies, eager to uncover their origins and purposes. James took a moment to walk through the ruins alone, reflecting on the journey that had brought them here. The weight of command was heavy, but the promise of peace provided a new resolve. As the day drew to a close, the coalition held a ceremony to honor those who had fallen. The names of the lost were read aloud, each one a reminder of the cost of peace. The ceremony ended with a moment of silence, the quiet a powerful contrast to the recent chaos. Looking forward, the coalition planned for the future. New defense protocols were established, and an interstellar council was formed to oversee the affairs of the galaxy, ensuring that no single entity could ever again threaten their collective security. Captain James Walker stood aboard the Vanguard, watching as Eridani shrank away into the star-studded expanse of space. His crew was ready for the journey back home, their mission complete. As the stars beckoned, James felt a profound sense of accomplishment and hope. The galaxy was vast, and their adventures were far from over, but for now, they had achieved something remarkable.